الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد واهتدى. قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله ولو آمن أهل الكتاب لكان خيرا لهم منهم المؤمنون وأكثرهم الفاسقون. We have multiple identities. As an individual, we are a piece of life surrounded by physical boundaries of his or our physicalities, our physical body. Then we are father, mother, son, daughter. And then we are also recognized by our profession, our careers, doctors, engineers, lawyers, businessmen. And then we belong to a piece of land, language and culture. So we are Arabs, Pakistanis, Indians, Americans. But there is one identity that has been given to us by our Creator, by our Rabb. And that is the identity of being Muslim as an individual and as an ummah. Most of us know what we are supposed to do as an individual Muslim in our individual capacity. But rarely we think and talk about our role as ummah, at a collective level, as a group of people who share the same faith, same prophet, and same book. And that is the topic of my today's talk. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the seal of prophethood. He was given by Allah the needed revelation, wahi, to guide and complement the human intellect and fitrah in order to live a meaningful and purposeful life in this world and to achieve never-ending success in hereafter. And he fulfilled the job to transmit it to Ummah in the most perfect and practical way. And now through this Ummah, this light of Islam is supposed to spread to the rest of the humanity. Our forefathers, the companions of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Ashab and Aslaf, they performed this job to the best of their abilities. But are we doing this job of da'wah to the people in our surroundings in the backdrop of challenges of 21st century effectively and successfully? What are the main barriers in the way of performing this honorable job? Now, when we analyze, we need to understand our situation. We need to understand where we are in this journey. Because as we know, when we are traveling, we have to know where we are in time and space. Otherwise, we have difficulty in navigating our destination. Also, we have to understand the chemistry of receiving end. Most of the time, when people talk about Islam, they forget the receiving end. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Quran and Allah considered always the receiving end. When Islam came to Arabia, it was revealed in Arabic language that Quraysh could understand. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not come up with new terminology or new things. In the same culture, in the same language, he communicated with them. So we have to understand where we are living, what is the changes the human beings have gone through during this time of centuries, and what is the nature and chemistry of receiving it. If we talk about Islam, and we may be talking very good, we may be explaining very nicely Islam, but we are not considering the receiving end, we may not be able to communicate to today's human being. So the first dilemma, the first barrier for Muslim Ummah today in spreading their dawah is that they are in survival mode. What is this survival mode? Survival mode is all about physical body. Food, clothing, shelter, reproduction. Most of our energies of heart and mind are being consumed in the issues of what I'm going to eat, what kind of profession and degree I'm going to grab in order to earn my living, how I'm going to spend my leisure time, what kind of car I'm going to drive, what kind of spouse I'm going to have, and then how my children are going to have all these. This is survival mode. No matter if we live in a rented apartment or a $1 million worth house, we earn our living through labor, or we are a billionaire business tycoon. Whether our children are school dropouts or they have very high success in their careers, so far our thoughts, emotions and energies are limited to address these issues. We are in survival mode. And this survival mode we share with animals. All the animals, they look for comfort and convenience. They think about their children, they care about their children, and they try their best to protect them. Success in survival mode does not guarantee to automatically move to higher mode, the mode I call mode of enlightenment. The issues of mode of enlightenment are who created us and this universe. What is the purpose of my creation? How I'm going to fulfill this purpose? And where I'm going? Does my life end with death? Or my journey continues? These are the questions and issues of mode of enlightenment. When a person is in enlightenment mode, the survival mode continues because two are not mutually exclusive. However, his priorities change, and they change considerably. So today, that is the main dilemma of Muslim Ummah, that they are entangled, limited, and trapped in survival mode. How they are going to invite others to Islam. The analogies of these two modes are like two different languages. A person speaks only Arabic, and another person speaks only Chinese, and they two are trying to communicate. They cannot communicate effectively unless they change their paradigm. Either you have to learn the other's language or teach other your language. So the people who are in enlightenment mode, they cannot communicate effectively to the rest of the people who are in survival mode. So we lack an effective method of communication, and that is the core of dawah. Today, the human intellect does not need speeches, khutbats, books, digital explanations of Islam to be attentive to Islam. Today, humans can easily be presented with the beauty of Islam if proper communication methods are adopted. If only the Muslims, they change their priorities and they are also in the mode of enlightenment so that they can convey the message. May Allah give us guidance, strategy and tawfiq to fulfill our job of spreading the light of Islam to the rest of humanity. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين أما بعد فيا معشر المسلمين أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من صلى وصام اللهم صل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى سائر الصحابة والتابعين وعلى عبادك الصالحين. So we as Muslim Ummah have been given the honor of calling people to Allah, switching their mode from creation to creator, from material resources to Amal Saleh, from limitation of this world to vastness of hereafter. But it seems like we are not going anywhere, as we ourselves have been entangled in survival mode. So let us look scientifically how things become popular among masses, how people start embracing things. People in general embrace concepts and things based on their benefits, utilities. You don't have to convince them. Electricity, mode of transportation, computers, mobile phones. We did not convince masses to embrace them. Once people saw their benefits, they were hooked onto them, even though they don't understand the science and principle behind these devices and these concepts. Can people in our surrounding see the benefits we are getting from Islam? Forget about that our Islam benefits the other human beings. Are we getting benefit from Islam? It can be argued that these material things are the fruits of technology that stemmed from scientific principles. And that's how the outer well-being of humans, of comfort and convenience, it was achieved through science and technology. So there is a difference. No, there is no difference. The principles of outer well-being and the principles of inner well-being are the same. What is science? Science is discovering principles of physicality. And what is technology? The applied form of those principles. Once you put it in an applied form, that becomes technology. So far, the science was in the hands of philosophers and intellectuals. The world was away from science. Actually, it was the pastime of philosophers and intellectuals. But once it was applied in the form of technology, the whole world welcomed it and embraced it. Even a villager in far remote jungles in Africa, who doesn't know the science behind electricity and computer and phone, he wants to get all these things. So this is how things are popular among masses. They see the benefit and they embrace it. So how about the inner well-being? The spiritual dimension of human life. Islam provides the principles, the science of spirituality. Where is the technology? Our ibadat are the technology. When we use those ibadat, they transform us and then we get the benefit. And what is the ultimate benefit? Akhlaq. The way human beings deal with each other and other human beings. So, our salat, our siyam, our hajj, our zakat, these are not just fard, not just mandatory. These are indeed the applied form of Islam. These are the technologies leading to the ultimate benefit to humanity, akhlaq. Our respects and love for parents and elders, our affection and care for youngers, our eagerness to the weaker to help the needy, and our beating of hearts for the downtrodden and weaker section of the society, our manners with opposite gender, and our tenderness to our neighbors and fellow human beings, our sensitivity to animals, plants, and environments. Are we having these benefits? We will not achieve these unless we use our ibadat as technology to transform ourselves. We need to understand this relation between theoretical framework of Islam and its applied form. We have to connect these dots. Because no matter how much digital Islam we spread, people are not going to see the benefits unless they see those akhlaq in us. And there is another analogy. For example, this building, it could be the nicest building by design, but the material we have to put in it. If we put wrong material in it, the design could be the best, but the building could collapse. Allah has made the best design in the form of human machine. The thoughts, the intellect, the physical body is the best design. But the material, we have to provide it. If we provide the wrong material, this human body is not going to be used to lead to the purpose it was created for. So here is the recipe. I call it LEAP. As a novel methodology of dawah in 21st century, seeing the significant changes that have occurred in the brains and hearts of the receiving end. And what is this LEAP? L is for unconditional love to other Muslims, irrespective of school of thought, language, ethnicity, geographical bondage. E is making ibadat an experience of joy and happiness. We can learn its physical form, but we have to work on every rakat, and we have to make sure that our every rakat, every fast, every step to the Hajj, every dollar for zakat as an experience of ecstasy and joy. Not just burden of fard. Allah is Rahman and Rahim, so He made it fard so that we can benefit. Nobody is deprived from the benefits of these things. But it is a lot more than fard. So we have to stop thinking about just fard. We have to make sure that every rakat and every dollar we spend in the path of Allah becomes our experience. And A is akhlaq of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And what is P? Changing our priorities. The three priorities I would mention, especially two priorities basically. One is trying to become a sincere Muslim. What is sincere Muslim? Whatever we know and whatever is inside us should almost appear the outside. The inside and outside difference should be minimized. That is sincere Muslim. And the second is we should be standing for those values which the receiving end value. We shouldn't be talking about just Islamic terminology to the people. So what is the biggest value today? The human being's value, and that is justice and peace. So can Muslims today change their priority and stand for justice and peace? Wherever there is a problem in the Muslim Ummah, we talk about Palestine, Kashmir, we talk about Rohingya, we talk about Chinese Muslims. Let's talk about human rights. Because that's the human rights thing the people in the West can understand better. When we stand for Muslim, our Muslim brother as Muslim brother, they may not understand it. But how about peace and justice? Shouldn't we have justice? I mean, shouldn't we know that for less than 1 million people, you have almost 10 million army in Kashmir? Shouldn't we talk about the injustices being done to the rest of the Muslims wherever they are? So in Yemen, in Palestine, so let's talk about justice and peace. So that is the priority, that the Muslims, especially the Muslims living in the West, they should be standing for these things. They should be recognized. And even if someone is not Muslim in Africa and in South America, the Muslims should stand up for them in the name of justice and peace, because that's the language today receiving and understanding. So we know what's going on in Kashmir. Can we change our priority for 2 days or 2 things? Because we can say to ourselves that what is the benefit of just standing and protesting? It's not about the outcome. It is about what we can do. The outcome is always in the hands of Allah. So the Muslims should be standing for peace and justice and doing whatever they can do. And as a matter of fact, what Muslims in the West, and especially in America, can do by standing in the streets, our Muslim country and their rulers cannot do. So we have to change our priorities. Let's make dua with the intention of doing these with the core of our hearts, that Allah help us organize ourselves so that we can get the honor of calling people to Allah. Switching their attention from creation to creator, from makhluk to khaliq, from material resources to amal salih, from mal to a'mal, from limitation of this life to vastness of life in hereafter, from dunya to akhirah. Ibadallah, rahimakumullah, inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Udhkurullaha yadhkurukum wa ad'uhu yastajib lakum. ولذكر الله تعالى أعلى وأولى وأعز وأجل وأتم وأهم وأكبر. Let's pray.